So when we went to war, I saw your colors all over me.
Megan Hicks of I Run Far, and I'm with Zach Miller. It's the day before the 2018 UTMB. Here we are again, Mr. Miller.
Yeah, here we are again, the third time, I guess.
Third time's a charm, perhaps. So I just arrived a couple days ago, but you have been here for a while. What's been going on?
Yeah, I've been here for the month. I got here, I was in Alaska for a week. I think I left there the 31st and got here on the 1st, and I've been here since then, just training. I've never really taken the train on the course, do all the recon, be really specific approach to pretty much any race, except North Face 50, only in the sense that I know what it's like and I've done it before, so I kind of mimic it in Colorado. But yeah, I've never really done the whole come over to Chamonix for a month and just, learn the course, train on the course, all that stuff. So I figured I'd give it a shot this year, just kind of go all in. And we had enough hands on deck at bar camp for me to finally do that. So that was one of the main things leading to that decision, was there were finally enough people working at the camp for me to be able to get away.
So you've had a proper European vacation.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, probably not quite the same as everyone else's European vacation.
Not at all.
But yeah, I've definitely been over here for a while, and yeah, it's been good.
And so we need to set the rumors to fact. How many times did you run around Mont Blanc between August 1st and when you started to taper?
Yeah, this is kind of funny. So, because as soon as I started getting back into town and people started coming in for the race, I was getting all these questions, and I was like, I met this guy Anthony when I was training, and we've become friends, and I was like, Anthony, I think I'm gonna get a lot of questions when the race comes. And then yesterday I was talking to one of our buff guys, and I was like, the rumor is growing. Somebody came up to me and was like, I heard you did it 6 times. And I was like, no, I didn't do it 6. I went around 4 times while I was here.
4 complete loops. Were you on the TMB the whole time, or did you go off on some other courses?
No, on the UTMB course,
Okay.
like up the pyramids, down the pyramids. Like basically I tried to stick as closely to the course as I could. Ironically, the only part I couldn't really quite get was going down into Saint Gervais, which it's ironic because that's the part I messed up last year. Is that descent? There's like a million options and turns and signs, and you go through like some random cow pastures and things, and so I feel like I got a lot of it right, but without the course was never marked while I was out there, and I don't train with the GPS, so I knew I was mostly correct, but I always came out to town in a different spot, and or not I usually came out to town pretty much the same way.
Okay.
But I mean it was different. What I mean is it was different from what the race does, and I knew it. And one day I kind of ran backwards to try and kind of figure out exactly how it comes in. But I mean, in the race day when it's marked, I didn't have any issues my first year. It was just last year I think I got kind of lackadaisical. But it was funny. That was the one part where it's I couldn't quite remember how it worked. And then, yeah, I mean, I didn't really veer off I stuck to the course. I mean, sometimes I veered off just to go bivvy somewhere. I do an extra little climb or something just to go up somewhere to sleep, and then come back down in the morning. Or my last loop I was staying in hotels and hostels, so I ran up to Lake Contamine and then back to Saint Gervais because I was staying in Saint Gervais.
Got it.
So I tacked on some extra miles that day, but
Yeah.
Otherwise I just stuck to the route.
The TMB, now you know it basically by heart.
Yeah, I guess so. I think it's I've raced it twice. I did it 4 times, and I did it once years ago before JFK. So I guess that's that's what 4, 5, 6, 7, 7
and
times more or less.
another 2/3 or something like that with CCC.
Yeah, for CCC. So yeah, I mean, will it bode well on race day? Hopefully.
Yeah.
But I mean, all it really means right now is I've gone around that loop a lot of times.
Yeah. But in terms of numbers, what that means is you trained a real lot. Like the volume was pretty high.
Yeah. Yeah, it was definitely very high volume. It was, it was different training for me because instead of finishing a big run and going home to cook dinner for 45 people, I could put my sleeping bag down in the grass and go to sleep and wake up whenever I wanted,
Yeah.
if I was hungry, I could eat. If I was tired, I could sleep. I could just, my only thing I needed to accomplish each day for the most part was to wake up and run
Getting down the trail.
at some point. So yeah, so that was different. So that changes the aspect of things. But yeah, it was big. It was a lot, and I know it was a lot, and my body could feel it was a lot.
Okay.
By the end of it, I was very tired.
You were.
Yeah, the last day was really good. Like the last day of the 4th loop, I was really happy with how it went. But then, after that, it all starts to settle in and sink in. And, I went out the next day and ran with a friend, and it was like, I don't have much of a gas pedal. And, that's okay because
I have one gear today.
Yeah, because I shouldn't.
Yeah.
And it was, it was like that for a little while in the beginning of the taper. And, it makes you worried. You wonder, oh, did I overdo it? Am I overcooked? But, it's hard, but you try to trust it. And day at a time, the energy comes back. I slept a lot more than I'm used to.
Yeah.
I ate, I got massage, I did things, and bit by bit, the body comes around. So,
And so here we are standing in Chamonix. The race starts tomorrow. How does your body feel after that huge load?
yeah.
And the taper.
Yeah. Yeah, a taper, which was, to be honest, probably a more aggressive taper than I usually do. Probably because the training load was so big at the end, and I knew it. So I knew I needed some rest, and I just felt like I needed some rest. So I usually do it for a big race like this. It's usually a 2-week taper. And I'd say I took the first week of taper lighter than I normally would. And then I took the last week of taper probably about on par with what I would normally do, but maybe a little lighter. And yeah, the legs feel good. I did kind of freak out Sunday night. I felt like I went out and did a little run and felt really good. And then that night I felt kind of like achy and kind of like I was getting cold, and it just freaks you out.
Yeah.
It's not. And so then the next day I still felt strange in the morning, so I just kind of waited and didn't run until I did a really easy run in the evening, and it actually felt good. But so that freaked me out. Now right now I feel good. Sometimes I do still. I was like, oh, am I a little bit sick? I do feel maybe there's something still slightly lingering, but it's also there's so many nerves and emotions and things. It's I know I've had stuff like that before going into races, and then the race ends, and I'm it all
it was okay. It was all good.
Well, no, and then I feel completely fine.
Yeah.
I'm there's nothing here.
Yeah.
I'm not sick. There's nothing. Everything feels perfectly fine. So maybe I don't know. It could be a slight cold. I don't know. But today I feel good, and I've been really mindful with just getting a lot of rest and stuff like that, and just trying to be 100% for race day.
Right on. So you are 2 times a finisher of UTMB. It's your first go in 2016. That was 5th place.
Mm-hmm.
Second go last year. That was 9th place. And you're back again. Whenever I see people return to a race, I think hunger.
Yeah.
Figurative hunger.
Yeah.
I mean, it's always literal hunger also.
Yeah.
But figurative hunger. Are
Yeah.
you still really hungry for this race?
Yeah, I think
and for your best race here?
Yeah, I think I am. We just did Tim Tolfson and I just did a podcast with Billy Yang the other day, and just yesterday I think. And we were kind of talking not about hunger, but we were kind of talking about he was bringing up the fact of there's still no American male has won this race and all that, And I was saying how, yeah, like that's definitely a really tempting carrot. Like I think there's quite a few who are, after that accolade. But we were also talking a lot about how, like there needs to be like, I've kind of been on like a personal like thought process of like, how can I run this race and still like have some other bigger purpose or like still feel fulfilled at the end, even if you don't get that, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because like Tim said, if you're like, even if you win everything, it's like there's always like now what's next, and so
right.
you'll like never really be fulfilled, like no matter
And
what you
literally,
achieve.
that's like the first question people start asking you.
Yeah.
You have your greatest accomplishment,
Yeah,
and the
and then
world
they're
wants
like-
to know, well, what are you gonna do
Yeah,
now?
I mean, I'm thinking
Can
like,
I just enjoy this?
yeah, you have those dreaming thoughts, and I've thought of like, if I can cross that finish line first, like I'm gonna feel like I accomplished my life's work. Like I'm gonna be like, okay, like I'm not gonna, I don't plan to like retire or anything, but I'm gonna be like, this is the biggest goal I had on my plate for like the past 3 years.
Yeah.
So, and there's no guarantee of achieving it or anything, but you just think of like, you have those thoughts of like, well, what if it would happen? What would I think? So yeah, it's definitely like a really tempting carrot, but like I was saying, I really like, I don't know, like I want there to be more to the race than just that winning aspect.
Yeah.
So I mean, of course, I want to win. I'm competitive, but I know there's like 20 different guys in this race who could win. So yeah, we had talked about the example I used when we discussed it with Billy, the example of Desi when she won Boston this year, which I didn't even watch the race because I live at Bar Camp. But from what I read and things, they told this kind of really strange, bizarre story of a runner who had waited for Shalane Flanagan when she had to use the bathroom to help her back up the group. And then I forget, there was like some other instance where she helped another runner or something get back on the pack, or I forget what she did. But it was like all these things where I was like, if her sole goal was to win that race, she sure didn't seem to be doing all the things that like you wouldn't do that. You wouldn't wait
Help
for
your fellow
Shalane. Like,
competitors.
yeah, so it's like there must be something deeper to Desi that she's doing all those. Either she had given up on her day and was like, oh, I guess I'll just help all these other people if I can because I'm not going to win. Or there's something in Desi that sees more than just the winning aspect. And I think that's really cool. And that made the Boston story this year like a million times better than any other year. And in the end, like Desi won the whole race, which is crazy because like Desi's not supposed to win that race. I mean, she's supposed to win that. She need like
easy.
No, I'm not bashing Desi. I'm saying the type of runner that Desi is, and I think if you'd ask her herself, she'd say, I'm not supposed to win Boston unless like it's maybe a conditions year like that. In conditions like that, that's Desi's race. But in like your normal, like you rank them up all with their PRs and everything, and like that, you don't. The betting man doesn't pick Desi. Like
pick Desi.
The fans pick Desi, but the betting man, doesn't, not in a good conditions race at least. So
let's talk for a minute about nutrition. Last year you had a big bonk. I think between, was it Grand Col Ferret and Champs Lac, something like that?
Well, I had a really big bonk there my first year.
Oh.
I might have had I mean, I don't know. Maybe I bonked there last year too. I don't remember a huge bonk there last year. I had a really big bonk there the first year because I got up Grand Col Ferret, basically couldn't see anybody's headlamp behind me. Got to La Folie, was told I had like 24 minutes, and then got to Champagne, and there were two other people who were in the aid station with me.
Yeah.
So I had a huge bonk in between.
Okay, I might be confusing the 2 years then.
I mean, I did have my fair share of struggles last year, so so there could have been a rough patch in there too. I think I had a rough descent off Grand Col Ferret, and then a better run from La Folie
Okay.
up. So you might be thinking from top of Grand Colfray down.
Down.
I wasn't so hot there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Have you, I mean, I kind of asked the same question of Tim Tollefson the other day. Like, the order of magnitude that you need to improve in this race at this point, like you've already had like such strong performances. We're talking about like kind of like micro percents or micro pieces of the puzzle. Have you taken, like, do you spend time thinking about like those little things that sort of added up last year or the previous year? Like, do you think, kind of dissect that and try to work on those micro percentages, or?
Yeah, I think this year we've been trying to work on my weaknesses.
Okay.
Which my primary weakness is planning. Which fortunately, and like anybody who knows me basically knows that. And that's like 50-mile race takes like maybe distance wise it takes half the planning.
Yeah.
You know, logistics wise it takes maybe an eighth of the planning.
Yeah.
So a 50-mile race, like I'm only going for 6 hours. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like that's like, even that I'm not the best planner, but I've kind of, you know, I seem to have learned that. Where a 100-mile race for me, it's like,
Okay.
if you'd say that a 100-mile race is a big, like planning is a big part of it, and then you tell somebody that that's what I'm doing, it'd be like, well, that's a stupid idea.
How's Zach gonna have success at this?
Yeah, exactly. So, but fortunately, Buff has been it's been a very close relationship with Buff in our sponsorship together. And they have learned like my weaknesses from, they spend a lot of time with me, like just like doing normal, like eating and eating, you know, being at races together, all staying in the same house or whatever. And they've learned like what my issues are as a person. And they see where those issues intertwine with my racing. And so they try and help guide me in the right direction. So like they kind of encouraged me, or thought it would be a good idea for me to come and train on the course early. You know, they knew last year I went off course, you know, so it's like, you know, it makes sense to come and train early. And it's just good to know. And they saw how I ran at World Championships in Spain, and they knew what some of the other runners had done in preparation in terms of learning the course to prepare. And they knew I only, you know, went like the week of or whatever and had never really seen much of the course. So they saw like those blunders and mistakes and were like, you know, we could do this better. And then with nutrition, like same thing. Buff actually went through and made me like a whole PowerPoint presentation this year to like help me prepare for the race. Include with all these statistics from like last year's times and stuff, like how long it took me to get from aid station to aid station, and like what my nutrition plan had been last year. And then we sent it to Goo, and Goo's been a really great partner too, and they have a in-house sports nutritionist. So she sat down with all the info Buff had compiled, and she asked me some questions like, you know, like what works for you, what doesn't work for you, what are your struggles, what do you like, what do you don't like, and then she took all that information and put together like a nutrition strategy.
Wow.
And then we sat down like the other day via like Skype or whatever and hashed it all out, like, okay, this is what you should eat here, and this is what you should drink, and like the, you know, this is, and just laid it all out, which, you know, in the past has not at all been my approach. Like if you look back at my CCC, which is comical because that's actually the race I did win, but the preparation was absolutely hilarious.
Well, and it's also a 10-hour shorter race.
Yeah, so logistically you can get away with a lot more, but still, I look at it and it's laughable, like incredibly laughable.
How
like
you made it through
the whole Nike crew that year, we didn't have a clue what we were doing. Like we didn't know and that's really funny because 3 of us nailed it, but like we weren't familiar with the gear. We were scrambling for pieces of gear at the last minute. I was throwing stuff together like the night before. There was barely anything to the nutrition plan. You know, is like
Coke and aid stations for everybody.
Yeah. No, I mean there was a little bit of a plan, but not much.
Yeah.
And you know, somehow it worked. But like you said, it was 100K. Had that race been 100 miles, I don't know if I would have got away with it. And this race is 100 miles, so it
So-
takes a bit more.
So the short answer to the question is that between you and the people who are on your side, you have address those micro weaknesses.
Yeah, I'd say we've worked on them, and I think some of them I wouldn't even call micro. They're like almost
Super macro.
yeah, like they're pretty big. Some of those. So we've addressed some of those things. Now will it work? Will I actually do it in the race? That's a whole other
To be
thing.
continued, everybody.
My goal is to do it. So
2 days from now, we'll have our answer.
yeah, and I mean, you can even do it in the race and then be like, it just wasn't my day, So you never know.
Sure.
But we've tried to do what we can in advance, to make it all work. So, yeah, we've worked on those things.
Well, best of luck on your 8 3/4 journey around Mont Blanc.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah. Hopefully it'll be a good one. I've had fun already regardless. So, but yeah, hopefully it'll be a good day out there.
Good luck to you, Zach.
Thank you, Megan.